Who would win? Malphite from League of Legends or Tiny from Dota 2? We'll be judging these two in two different battles. One the battle of the lore, and one of the battle of the in-game abilities. One dark day, the void tore itself into the material realm. The armies of the Grand Shuriman Empire were helpless against the void, an enemy who grew stronger the more they fought. An Ixtali elementalist named Nazuk created a plan to stop the void from spreading. He and the other elemental mages of the Ixtali created a monolith the size of a city. With it, they bored themselves into the deep of the void and battled it for weeks. The Ixtali mages alongside the monolith unleashed enough magic to lay waste to an entire continent, and the void fired back. Its hideous energies gorged deep into the living stone of the monolith, which became seared with unnatural malphite, or bad stone as the Ixtali called it. The monolith was pushed to its very limits, and soon began to collapse, crashing down onto the rift of the void, much of it falling in. One single shard survived the fall. Centuries passed and the shard slowly gained size and strength. Longing to be reunited with his other pieces, Malphite wanders Runeterra, ready for the day the void returns. Tiny knows not his purpose or where he came from. A deep curiosity drives him and he travels the world, tirelessly seeking his origins. As he roams, he gathers weight and size. The only being who knows Tiny's true purpose is Kowlin, the Earth Spirit, although he never chooses to let us in on that secret. I have a headcanon for what Tiny's true purpose is. As you see, in the Dota 2 universe, every match is canon. That means each event that happens is true to the Dota lore. When the Ancient falls at the end of the game, it uses all of its power to rewind time to a state before it fell. There are groups of individuals who know they're trapped in this time loop, and they believe that the only way for them to escape it is to have both Ancients fall at the same time. It's my belief that Tiny is the one to break the loop. It's his job to grow in size, become this massive monolithic being that with a single stroke he could destroy both Ancients and break the time loop. I believe a battle between these two would almost be cordial. They would kind of meet up, and Tiny would ask some questions, see if he could discern anything about his past, and once he realized Malphite couldn't give him any answers, Tiny would, not maliciously, just try to absorb Malphite, because that's part of who he is. And so a fight would finally break out between the two, these two massive monolithic beings of stone, sending fist after fist of each other, and one of them trying to absorb the other. But I think Malphite is going to have that advantage. As Tiny tries to absorb Malphite, those pieces of the void that are still within Malphite are going to go into Tiny. It's going to start corrupting him, and as the void begins to corrupt him, Malphite will slowly begin to assimilate Tiny, growing even larger and ready for when the void comes. Now we move on to the battle of the in-game abilities. As these games have different design philosophies, we won't be using any in-game number statistics or Ag Scepters or Ag Shards in Dota. Malphite's Q is a targetable projectile, and once it lands, it deals moderate magic damage and steals movement speed from the target. Malphite's W passively gives him the shield, and on the active, it increases his attack range and gives him more attack damage. Malphite's E slams to ground, dealing magic damage and AoE, and slowing the attack speed of everybody hit. Malphite's ultimate is a dash, and when he connects with the champion, he does massive magic damage and knocks them into the air. Tiny's Q is Avalanche. It does multiple mini stuns and dealing small amounts of magic damage. Tiny's W is Toss. It allows him to throw a unit in the air or throw it towards another unit. Tiny's E allows him to pick up a tree from the terrain and use it to increase his attack range and add cleave. He can also recast the ability to throw the tree at a range. Tiny's ultimate is a permanent buff that allows him to grow. He gains bonus damage and armor, but has slower attack speed. I think Malphite has an advantage in the laning stage. He's able to use his Q to poke Tiny and his E to gather CS while inhibiting Tiny's attack speed. Meanwhile, Tiny's kit is more designed towards getting burst kills with his QW combo, so Malphite's able to successfully zone him while securing CS, so I think he wins lane. Once we get out of lane, I think it becomes very Tiny favored. Once Malphite gets in range to Q Tiny, he's in range of Tiny's QW combo, and he's at risk of getting blown up. Anytime that Malphite isn't surprising with a Tiny with an ultimate, Tiny will probably have a blink dagger and he can just get on top of the Malphite, just QW combo, maybe even toss him back to his team. And all Malphite can do is use his ultimate to disengage, and therefore he's not engaging with it, so he's lacking a large part of his kit. And I think with that, Tiny takes the battle of the in-game abilities, which leaves us at a tie 1-1 draw.